Hello everyone and welcome to this video where I'm going to be ranking all of Queen's studio albums. Obviously I've done this with all of the Paul McCartney albums and I've done this with all of the Beatle albums. So let's just get straight into it, starting with Queen 1. Now Queen 1 I'm gonna put in B for now. It's a really solid studio album. So let me just kind of go through the tiers quick. We've got S, which is like superior. I mean, it's amazing. You know, it can be better. A is obviously a really solid album. B is a good album. C is it's a bit of a meh album, but it's all right. And D is just it's bad. It's not a good album. I'm gonna put B, Queen in B for now. Queen 1 in B for now, just because it is a solid album and it's definitely a very solid first album. But there's a couple songs on here I could skip. Not a lot, and I may move it up later on, but I'm just going to put it there now to start with. Like I said, it's a really solid first album with a lot of good songs on it, like Keep Yourself Alive, Doing Alright, The Night Comes Down. Then you've got kind of things like Modern Times Rock and Roll, which I'm not a fan of, and then things like Son and Daughter, which isn't really like, it's not a bad song, but I don't really listen to it. And then obviously it ends with kind of this bass version of Seven Seas of Rye. It's not really the complete thing that we know. So it's a good solid first album, but it's definitely not perfect. And the production on it isn't the best. It isn't as good as it is on later albums, but it's not bad. So I'm going to keep it in B for now. Okay, Queen 2, which is a personal favourite of mine. I really want to put it in S. And I'm going to put it in S. It's a really solid album, and just looking at the track listing, yeah, no, it 100% deserves to be in S. There isn't a bad song on this album. There's March of the Black Queen, White Queen, As It Began, Ogre Battle, the actual Seven Seas of Rye, Nevermore, The Fairy Fellas, Masterstroke. I mean, it's a really solid album. Maybe the only thing that lets it down as a solo song would be Procession, but it's not really a solo song, it's a lead into Father to Son, so it's not, do you know what I mean? It doesn't even take away from the album, because if you're listening to the album as a whole, Procession just leads you into Father to Son, so it's not even bad, it's just a minute lead. Do you know, so there's really nothing that lets this album down, so it is fully going to sit in S tier. It's a brilliant album. Next we have Sheer Heart Attack, which I have no doubt is going in S. However, I don't know where in S it's going to go. This is, again, it's a personal list, obviously. I'm going to try and take into consideration popular opinion as well and the impact of the album, but I'm going to say Queen 2 is slightly better for me personally. But let's just have a look at, the track listing for Sheer Heart Attack. You've got Killer Queen, Flick of the Wrist, Now I'm Here, In the Lap of the Gods, and In the Lap of Gods Revisited. It's a really solid album, and again, there's not really any weak songs on here, but I'd say there's more songs on this album that I'm likely to skip than in Queen 2, and that's kind of why it's in S tier. But it's a really solid album, and a lot of these earlier Queen albums are really solid. Now we have A Night at the Opera. This is going S, and it's going to the top of S. It's a fantastic album, and it's really weird because, I'll be honest, Sweet Lady is a song on here that I skip. I don't like Sweet Lady, and it was on my video of the few Queen songs that I didn't like. I don't know what it is, because it's not a bad song, and it doesn't sound bad, and I shouldn't not like it, and I do, and I don't know why. But it doesn't let the album down, even from listening to it from start to finish. Sweet Lady's there, and even if I have to listen to it, I'll listen to it just for the rest of the album. Thankfully, you don't have to listen to it, you can skip it. But, this is supposed to be about the whole album. From start to finish, even including Sweet Lady, which is a song I will admit I don't really like. I love this album, it's brilliant, and the rest of the songs make up for it. I mean, Death on Two Legs, You're My Best Friend, the Prophet song, Love of My Life, Bohemian Rhapsody, There's Good Company, 39, even some of the weaker songs, I'm In Love With My Car, and like God Save the Queen even being at the end, it's not even that much of an issue. Again, you wouldn't listen to it as a solo song, but for the end of the album it works. It's there for a reason. It's a really solid album, and again, like I say, Sweet Lady being on there, which I will admit is a song I don't really like, doesn't bring the album down. Next we have A Day at the Races. Now, some people prefer Day at the Races to A Night at the Opera. I don't. It's an A album for me. And that's just because, although there are really, really solid songs on this album again, they're just not quite as good as some of the songs on A Night at the Opera. And again, like, a song on here that I don't like, White Man, is worse than Sweet Lady. If I had to listen to White Man or Sweet Lady, I'd choose Sweet Lady. I really don't like White Man, and that does let the album down for me. And again, for me, I mean, there are songs on here like You Take My Breath Away. Amazing, amazing song. I love that song. The Millionaire Waltz, You and I, Somebody to Love, Good Old Fashioned Lover Boy Drowse, Tio Toriate. I mean, they're all really, really good songs. Tie Your Mother Down as well. Like, they're all really, really good songs. And again, it's 100% an A album. But for me, I don't know, it's just not as good as A Night at the Opera, and it's not far behind it. But there's just, I don't know, it's just in an A tier for me. I can't really explain it. It's in the A tier. It's not a bad album. A isn't a bad place to be. It's just not quite S for me. Next we have A News of the World, which again is another personal favourite. But again, I don't think it's quite S. I'm going to put it on top of A because I prefer it to A Day at the Races. But again, some of the songs on here kind of let it down. There's less strong songs on this album. The strong songs are very strong. Now we've got We Will Rock You and We Are the Champions on this album, which are obviously massive Queen hits. I'll be honest, not my favourite. It's not that they're bad, they're obviously not, they're very good. It's just they're overplayed, and I think I'm surprised at how many Queen fans agree with this now, you know, the more I look into it. But throughout the actual fan base of deeper Queen fans, We Will Rock You and We Are the Champions isn't that popular, and I think it's because they're just so overplayed. They are really overplayed. You can have someone that doesn't like Queen or doesn't know who they are, who will know those songs and like them, and I think that's why I don't like them. Not to sound big-headed or like I'm better than you or whatever, but they're just overplayed, and it doesn't make them bad songs, and I don't know, it's just my opinion anyway. But the other songs on it, All Dead, Spread Your Wings, Get Down, Make Love, Who Needs You, Sleeping on the Sidewalk, It's Late, My Melancholy Blues, they're all really good. They're all really solid. Couple things on here, like Sheer Heart Attack, the song on this album, isn't a bad song, but it would have fit better on Sheer Heart Attack, and I believe the story behind that is it was started during the Sheer Heart Attack album days when they were working on that album. Wasn't finished, they decided to finish it and put it on News of the World. It's alright, it's not a bad song, but it would fit better on the Sheer Heart Attack album. Again, like Fight From The Inside, which is probably the worst song on the album, isn't bad, but it isn't great, and I don't listen to it that often. Next we have Jazz. Jazz. Let me look at the track listing for Jazz. I mean, there are a lot of good songs on Jazz. I like Mustafa, which is the opening song. I think that is either a love or hate song for a lot of people, but I love it. I think it's a good song. Fat Bottom Girls, Jealousy, Bicycle Race, that's good. But then you get things like Fun It or more of that jazz. Dead on Time's alright actually. You know, Leaving Home's alright. More of that jazz, Fun It are really the weaker songs on the album, but they're quite weak. You got Don't Stop Me Now on this album, obviously, which is a very popular song. I don't know, there's just something about the album as a whole doesn't feel quite as put together, quite as good as some of the others, so I think I'm going to put it in B, and I think I'm putting it below Queen 1, just for me personally. Obviously I did a video where I actually ranked all of these from worst to best. I don't remember the order I put them in, but I know these are near the top, although Queen 2 might not be. But that was more of a from song to song. I ranked all the songs and then out of 10 and divided it and actually got a score for the album. This is more of just I'm not doing that. This is just for me. This is how I feel about it off the top of my head right here, right now. Yeah, Jazz there. I'm happy for it to stay there, to be honest. Next we have The Game. The Game is actually a really kind of solid album. Play the Game, Dragon Attack, Another One Bites the Dust, Crazy Little Thing Called Love, Sail Away Sweet Sister, Coming Soon, Save Me. There's a lot of good songs on that album. There's a couple weak songs on here. Rocket, which is one of the other songs on the few that I don't like, it just meh. Need Your Loving Tonight as well. I don't not like it, but it's a kind of a weaker song. I don't mind Don't Try Suicide. I know a lot of people don't like it. Again, with Dragon Attack, I know a few people don't like it, but I don't mind them. Overall, the album's not bad. It's probably it's probably top of B. Yeah, I can't put it with those two. Definitely not. It's definitely top of B. It's B is by no means bad. Obviously, we've got these are just superb. A is very, very solid. B is good. C is and D is bad. So yeah, I'm happy. Yeah, I think the game can stay there. Okay, the Flash Gordon soundtrack's going in D. I don't even want to talk about the track listing. I don't care about the track listing. I'll be honest, I've never really listened to Flash Gordon from start to finish. I don't really want to listen to Flash Gordon from start to finish because I know it's got 2 songs in it with vocals, which I believe is The Hero and then obviously Flash's theme. Which the Flash's theme is a good song, The Hero's okay, but the rest is just soundtrack music, and I'm not a big fan. It's kind of the same deal as with the Beatles' Yellow Submarine in a way. The second half of Yellow Submarine is George Martin's score, which isn't bad, but it's just the movie score and it's boring, and I don't really particularly want to listen to it that much. It's kind of the same thing with Flash Gordon. It's just not for me. No. Okay, next we have Hot Space, which is a very controversial album. It's an S, obviously. No. Okay, I'm going to put it in C. I actually like Hot Space, and I'm sad that I'm going to have to put it in C, but it really hit me the other day why people don't like this album, and I can appreciate why people don't like it more now than I could before. When I did the rankings of these albums, like the actual video, which if you haven't seen it, you should check it out. I put a lot of effort into that video. It's a good video, but anyway, I wanted to put this higher than I did on that list because I like the album and I thought it unfairly always got put last or almost last after Flash Gordon. But I do understand it now. I like the songs on this album, the majority of the songs on this album anyway. There's a couple duds, Staying Power and Dancer, Body Language, alright then, meh, whatever, I wouldn't listen to them, some of them are pretty bad. But Put Out the Fire, Action This Day, Life Is Real is actually one of my favourite Queen songs. Cool Cat as well, I think that's a controversial one. I think a lot of people don't like it, and a few people do. I really like Cool Cat. Obviously Under Pressure's on this album, which saves it from being in D. But as much as I do enjoy the songs on this album, say Cool Cat, for instance, which is a song I like, or Body Language, which is meh, I can get through Body Language. They're alright. They are okay. Like, I won't deny that they're okay. Like, Cool Cat, I like it, and it's an okay song. But you compare it to a song on, like, A Night at the Opera, Queen, to anything else, to be honest, and it does fall flat. It does, and I hate to say it, but I do understand why people just disregard this album completely. I won't disregard it completely because I do actually like the songs on this album, the majority of songs on this album, and like I say, Life Is Real is actually one of my favourite Queen songs, but they do pale in comparison to the rest of the discography, and Under Pressure does save the album a little bit there, I'm not going to lie. It's unfortunate, it is a bit of a dud, but it's, if any other band had released that, a new band, and that was kind of their genre, their vibe, kind of disco-y stuff, I suppose, especially on the first half of the album, might have done alright, but where it was Queen, it wasn't Queen. And I guess I understand that more now than I did before. Next we have The Works. The Works is actually a really solid album. I never really thought about The Works that much. Like, when I come to like ranking these albums in my own head for whatever reason, when I was just thinking about it or whatever, The Works never really popped up to be anywhere near my top 5 even. But it's a really solid album. Radio Gaga, Tear It Up, It's a Hard Life, Man on the Prowl, Machines, I Want to Break Free, Keep Passing the Open Windows, Hammer to Fall, and Is This the World We Created? It's a smaller album, but it's not a bad song on it. Even like Machines, which is probably the weakest song, even Machines or Man on the Prowl, I go back between the two on which is the weakest, but they're not bad. They're really not bad, and they're probably better than most songs. They are better than most songs on Hot Space. So it's a really solid album, and there's a lot of Hammer to Fall, Tear It Up, Radio Gaga, I Want to Break Free, Is This the World We Created? I mean, there's a lot of really good songs, So it's going to be an 8. Again, it's not, because of Man and the Prowl Machines, it's not solid all the way through for me, and it's somewhere, I'm going to put it there, just because in terms of the track listing on how many decent and solid songs there are, they're about the same. These are all about the same, and this is just now personal preference. Again, the orders within their tiers are quite loose anyway. Right, now we have a kind of magic which kind of falls into the same category as the works. It gets disregarded, but it's actually quite solid. It's not as solid as the works, it's definitely not, but there are some really good songs on here. One Vision, A Kind of Magic, 1 Year of Love, Who Wants to Live Forever, Princes of the Universe, which I think is underrated. But the ones that are on here that are duds for me anyway. Like Give Me the Prize, no. Don't Lose Your Head, no. And Pain Is So Close to Pleasure, it's that one's tolerable. The rest are good, but those three not so much. Obviously, like I say, One Vision, A Kind of Magic, really, really solid front songs. Who Wants to Live Forever, amazing song. It's a really, really good song. But the others, Princess of the Universe as well, again, like I say, underrated. It's a very good song. The others are just kind of meh, and those two that I mentioned are duds. So this is probably going to go in B, but top of B. I can't quite put it in A. I don't think I can put it with those three. Right, we have the Miracle next. I don't like the Miracle that much. And I don't know why. It's not bad, really. But it's just a certain songs on here, like Party, which is like the opening song to the album, where it uses like a drum machine, and it's just so, I don't know, I do not like it. Khashoggi Ship as well is like, I like it, but it's really weird and it's niche, and you have to be in the mood to listen to it. And then like I Want It All, which is a really good rocker. I like it, I do like the song, but I really have to be in the mood to listen to that song, otherwise I don't want to listen to it. Same with The Invisible Man. There's a lot of songs on this album that I have to be in the mood to listen to that song. Like, if I have Queen on shuffle, there's a lot of songs, especially from like the top 6 albums, let's say, like S and A tier, that if they came on, I'd listen to them, like, no matter what. The Miracle, a lot of the songs on here I really have to be in the mood to listen to. There's a couple songs that aren't that don't fall into that category. Like Scandal, I really love the song. I really like that song. Breakthrough as well. My Baby Does Me as well. Those three are like on my top of this album, I'd say. The rest, I really have to be in the mood to listen to them, and if I'm not, I don't want to listen to them. So The Miracle is probably, for me, gonna go into C tier as well, but I'll put it above Hot Space. By all means, it's really not a bad album, and I don't know why I feel like this with The Miracle, because it isn't a bad album at all. It is not. But the songs on it just don't appeal to me all the time. That's the difference. Whereas songs on A Night at the Opera, Queen 2, Sheer Heart Attack, Even News of the World, all those, they will appeal to me, like, if I'm in the mood for Queen. If I'm listening to Queen, those songs will always appeal to me. Even if I'm not listening to Queen, those songs will appeal to me. The ones on The Miracle, they don't always appeal to me, and I don't always want to listen to them. When I do, they're great, but when I don't, they're shit. So, yeah. Sorry, Miracle, but you have had a bad fate there. Okay, now we have Innuendo, which is obviously the last album to be released whilst Freddie was still alive, the last album to be properly fully recorded with him. It's a really good album with a couple duds. The issue with this album is every single song is for me, the song's either really, really good or it's complete shite. And there's no in between on this album. Let me just take you through it. Innuendo, I'm Going Slightly Mad, Headlong, I Can't Live With You, Don't Try So Hard, Ride the Wild Wind, These Are the Days of My Life, Bijou, Show Must Go On. All of them are brilliant. I love them. They're all really, really good songs. And it's difficult to rank them sometimes. I mean, there's obviously standout ones like These Are the Days of My Life and The Show Must Go On and Innuendo. But all of those songs really are solid for me. I really, really like them. But then you have the other three. All God's People, Delilah and The Hitman. Oh, I can't stand them. I cannot stand them. I do not like All God's People. I do not like Delilah, and I do not like The Hitman. And I don't know what to do about that. So, because when it comes to listening to the album as a whole, I have a really great time up until All God's People. and then I've got to listen to All God's People with a little interlude from These Are the Days of Our Lives, and then I've got to sit through Delilah and the Hitman, and it's like, I really don't like All God's People, Delilah, or the Hitman. So Innuendo is going to be hard for me to place. I'm going to put it in A because the songs that are solid make it solid, and I'm going to put it just below News of the World, I think. I think that is the right setting for it. It's a shame, because to be honest, in my opinion, if you took those three out, if you took All God's People, Delilah, and the Hitman out of that album, it could be an S tier, you know. It could be, like, even without adding anything else into it, it could be an S tier. But it has got those three songs in it, and I can't ignore them. Last but not least is Made in Heaven. Now, it surprised me watching other people's rankings of these albums to find a lot of people put this really low. And I don't know why. I don't really know why. Now, I understand Freddie wasn't alive. I understand some of these songs are re-recordings of Freddie's singles or solo songs. But come on, the albums are really nice. It's just a really nice send-off album. Like, some have made a point of the songs aren't quite as catchy and they're not as memorable as some of the other Queen works. But I kind of disagree. Like, the album is definitely more laid back. I mean, It's a Beautiful Day, Made in Heaven, Let Me Live. Like, those three opening songs, they are laid back songs. I mean, Made in Heaven is like a heavy, but it's laid back heavy. So I do understand kind of where he was coming from. It was another video, I don't remember who it was, I'm sorry. But in no means does that make the album not memorable. And to be honest, every single song on this album, until you get to the end, is brilliant. Because when you get to the end, you have Yeah, which is Freddie saying yeah, and it lasts 4 seconds. And it's really annoying because can you even include that as a song? No, but is it in the album? Yes. So do you have to take it into consideration? Kind of, yes. And then you've got Untitled, which is the 20-minute kind of... I always say it's like the kind of Queen's Revolution 9 in a way because it has a similar feel to it. It's longer than Revolution 9, but it's not as ear rapey. It's not as... Like, Revolution 9 can really get in your face, whereas Untitled doesn't really get in your face. It's kind of just a majority of it anyway. I have listened to all 20 minutes of it, God knows how. So you do have to kind of take them into consideration, but they are the last two kind of tracks on the album, and Untitled was a hidden track. I don't know, it's hard for me to rank because everything else on here is I really like. Like Mother Love is probably one of my favourite Queen songs. It's weird, I think if you are a Queen fan and you don't particularly like this album, give it a go again, because like I've just said, Mother Love is one of my favourite songs. When I first heard that, I really didn't like it at all, but it grew on me, it really grew on me, and I love it. I really love that song now. Like A Winter's Tale as well on this album is a really good song. I mean, Too Much Love Will Kill You, even the remakes of like Freddie's solo work, like I Was Born to Love You and Made in Heaven, they're better than Freddie's solo work. They are. I'm sorry, but they are. So just give it another go. Did I already rank it? I already put it in C, did I? Did I already do that, or did I accidentally drop it? Because I don't think it lives in C. It lives in B, and it lives at the top of B. And I'm happy putting it there. I think I must have just dropped it when I was holding it, because it doesn't live in C. It lives in B, and it lives at the top of B. And I'm happy for him to be there, to be honest. Very happy indeed. Right, so that was my tier list for all of Queen's studio albums. I hope you did enjoy this video. Thank you for sticking through to the end if you did. Please do let me know your thoughts and opinions, if you agree or disagree and why, in the comments below. But other than that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.